Alright, before we jump into the actual video, I have a few words about a service and a program that has partnered up with this channel to help benefit our entire community. Everyone already probably knows, at least if you frequent the channel you do, that I am primarily a console gamer. That is for a few reasons, but one major reason is hardware. I don't really have a PC that can handle certain games, especially not on higher graphical settings. Shadow is a service and app that allows players to rent access to a high-powered gaming rig for a tiny fraction of what it costs to actually buy their own, and then they can stream their games directly from that remote data center. It sounds kind of complicated, so to explain it more simply, this is my machine right here running a highly taxing graphical game. It isn't smooth, there's lag, you can see blatantly that it's kind of struggling, the machine is, to even run it. And this is the same exact game while using Shadow on the highest settings, and it's completely smooth. The program basically streams the gameplay to you much like an HD movie would, and it bounces your inputs off of the home machine so that you are playing just like normal, without needing any of the expensive hardware to do so. I know a lot of viewers play on console, and some of them perhaps really want to try PC. There are a lot of benefits to PC gaming, and getting an entire gaming PC is hugely expensive, and it's hard to do all at once for many players or gamers. Shadow lets you have a monthly subscription and still play every single thing that you want to play, even on an old laptop. They've set up a special link for the whole upper echelon community, which can be found down in the description below, and anyone who really wants to try PC games, like even on max settings, or regardless of how old or powerful your own computer is, you can still, play whatever you want, so please check it out. It really is kind of a game changer. Even if it's just for like 1 month or two to see what PC gaming is really like, or to hold you over until a new game comes out, or until you get the machine that you want, the machine of your dreams, or a specific piece of hardware, whatever it may be, it's absolutely worth checking out. Make sure to use promo code UEG for a special discount just for our community. Now on to the Fallout 76 impressions video. Fallout 76 launched very recently into its stress test beta, and this is far from a full review. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that it is. But it's been explicitly stated by the development team that the current version is pretty much the final game. Of course, bug fixing and optimization will follow, but content-wise, this is the final product, so I'm much more comfortable discussing the game knowing things won't really be changing. After a good amount of playing and testing as many areas as possible, I feel ready to give my impressions about the experience overall. To be very blunt, I really like the game. However, keep in mind that I've been a big fan of all things Fallout for many years, so there is a bit of bias there. Fallout 76 immediately has that sense of familiarity. The looting, the salvaging, the world, and the map, it all feels like a Fallout game should, and though I have not gotten very far into the base building particularly just yet, it clearly has the potential for customization, expansion, and good replayability. As far as what the beta was actually intended for, stress testing, bug and glitch exposure, and more along those lines, the kind of let's break the game so we can fix it before actual launch, there was very little of that going on. My experience was relatively smooth, and I won't harp on it too much because there's not very much to say, but it's clearly in good technical condition considering its timeline to full release. Now on to one of the biggest, if not the single largest topic, and that is PvP. The PvP in this game is not what I thought it would be, and it's indeed been a hot button issue surrounding the title for quite some time. In my mind, I thought it would take the shape of a wolf among sheep style open world trading and combat fest. In reality, it's just a cooperative farming thing with potential to sometimes fight someone maybe, and basically you get nothing for it. Bethesda is so caught up in avoiding ganking and griefing that they have created a game that seems to just spit in the face of anyone who wants to actually PvP, which kind of begs the question, why did they even add it in then? The basic way the system works is you can attack random players you see in the world at any time. However, you will effectively be hitting them with spitballs. You do no damage whatsoever, and they can just heal right through it all, and they can go back to a stash to dump all of their resources if they want. If you attack a player and they attack you back, though, then damage normalizes between those two players, and they can fight legitimately. The loser will drop their junk items and the winner can loot them, but all of the really good stuff, the things that you actually want from open world PvP, that never drops. You can't get a cool weapon or good armor from PvP, not even a chance. You can just get stuff to salvage and a few caps. Pound for pound, a more valuable tactic, but not a fun one at all, mind you, is jumping in front of enemies as they try to fight. Like if they're in a PvE battle and you jump in front of their gun, that's a better way to initiate PvP, honestly. If they end up hitting you and tripping the system, you can then retaliate and fully damage them. You can kill them, you can loot their junk items, and you can move on. But this type of devious PvP isn't fun. In addition to all that, when you do end up fighting someone and losing or winning or whatever, you can just respawn a few meters away and fight them again and again and again. So you're either in a potentially endless loop of meaningless PvP encounters that have no benefit or drawback, or alternatively, you're getting jumped or are jumping players in a really skeevy way to steal just a small chunk of the loot that they have been gathering. All in all, it's like Bethesda really wanted the keywords open world PvP to be applicable to their game, but they didn't actually want anyone to be openly engaging in much PvP except for very specific instances and within very, very tight parameters. Another form that PvP can take is the murderer system, and it's important everyone know within this that PvP is level balanced. So being level 50 versus level 5 makes no difference whatsoever in character power. The only difference is weapons, armor, and gear. Now that does make a difference, don't get me wrong, but being a higher level itself means nothing. If you keep attacking someone for the ridiculous amount of time it takes to actually kill them, you become a murderer. You get no loot from them, you cannot see other players on your map anymore, and if you die, you personally lose caps to pay off the bounty that gets set on you. Basically, everything in the game is designed to screw you over if you PvP against anyone other than a player that actually wants to fight you. One last mechanic is a radio station called Hunter Hunted. You tune into this and you are marked as a PvP active target, and you get assigned a bounty target chosen from the pool of other players listening to the same radio station. You yourself are also someone's bounty, so you can track people down and kill them while defending yourself from the same fate, and it's a pretty cool system, honestly, it is. As you level way up and get good gear and good weapons and power armor and all this awesome other stuff, the system will probably become increasingly cool. But for all players who thought this game was open world PvP, truly, it's not. It's not at all. The VATS system is pretty different now. It's not a time slow or a time pause. It's all real time. And honestly, I hate it like a lot. It's probably quite useful when you spec a lot of perk cards into the system, but as a basic function, it's clunky and it's much easier just to use the basic aiming system that they have in the game. Unless it's like really small, quick enemies that charge at you, in which case it can be sort of helpful, but mostly I found myself ignoring VATS. The game highly, and I need to really emphasize this, highly rewards cooperative team-based gameplay. I spec'd into some charisma perks and I became really powerful right off the bat while also gaining a pretty large experience boost. So it's in no way essential, but it's really, really strong to have a team if you spec right, and it makes some of the content feel a lot easier than other Fallout games ever were. We were taking down huge camps of enemies that were 2 or even 3 times our level in like a minute or so as a group, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but even at level 3 or 4, we were shredding sometimes level 10, even 20 plus enemies, and they were dangerous, yes, but once you start getting some better weapons, it becomes even more noticeable how far ahead of your range you can actually go. I have not personally fired off nukes yet or done true endgame, and that's one of the most appealing aspects of the game as a whole in my opinion. The dynamic nuke event system where firing off a nuclear missile creates a world event with crazy good loot that attracts players and has hard enemies, and it can spark PvP or a race to the treasure. But that is only one aspect, so as good a concept as it seems, it needs much more to support it. A really bright spot, in my opinion, is the perk card system from leveling up, and I'm going to do an entire video on that probably tomorrow because there is a wealth of information to cover. But basically, you level up certain main stat categories. You have strength, charisma, intelligence, etc., and within those, you have specific perks that increase damage or looting or anything really. You get a card with each level and progressively unlock more and more cards that you can then combine and level up to strengthen their individual bonuses. Additionally, you will unlock perk packs which give a bunch of low-level perks that you did not manually purchase yourself or choose, and those can be combined same as the others to give you a library of cards to use. In order to equip them, you have to actually spec into the main category enough to afford the cost of the cards. So you may have gotten a bunch of strength perks, for instance, from a pack and leveled those cards rewards up, but if you never put a point into strength yourself, you can't actually equip them. It's a really interesting system where you will be able to construct builds over time within certain trees to maybe loot super fast and get extra stuff, or only use your fists and be a boxing character like one of my teammates is doing. There's pure melee builds, there's sniper builds, there's pistol builds, there's tons of possibilities. In that way, the game excels, and I will for sure be covering these builds and make videos on the whole system. I'm really excited for that. The world is large and landmarks respawn really, really fast. In some ways that's a good thing, but in others it can be bad. You can stay in a nearly endless stream of super mutants, for example, in certain areas because more just keep coming and they keep coming. And for farming purposes, that's fantastic, but it can get to be overwhelming if you need to take a break or you're struggling with a quest objective near there. It's not always good. Or always bad for that matter, but it warranted a mention. Another cool system is the trading and shop mechanics. You can trade with other players and offer up items for a cost, which they can then choose to pay or not, and you can participate in live action trading back and forth. You can also set up a shop and allow players to buy from you passively, though I have not done it personally just yet, and that's really cool to me because you could get a bunch of low-level weapons, for instance, and calculate a price that new players are likely to be able to afford. Then you can set up in a low-level area and just let the funds roll in by specifically targeting your stock and your prices directly at a new player demographic. I'm a big fan of economies in any game, so I'm really biased in that regard, but trading, buying, and selling is great, and it adds a lot of longevity to a game. You don't have to just target new players either. You could get tons of ammo or medical supplies and set up near an end game location with tons of enemies, or whatever really. It's interesting and it's flexible. The developers made a specific choice not to have very many NPCs, and what little NPCs there are just robots, and that choice it's okay, it's fine. I thought it would be bad, honestly, because it would make the world more boring, but every single player you encounter being a trading opportunity kind of compensates for it, and the questing system is pretty decent as well. There are robot vendors or a couple of robot NPCs across the world, as I said. They're quest givers, but there's really not many of them, and when you do find one, it's kind of cool. You feel more incentivized to help them or to go through their activity chain to get the rewards. As for the rewards, they feel pretty good, honestly. Looting has a way of making it seem like even though you're just gathering junk most of the time, you are benefiting a great deal, and there's always something to scrap or a stim pack to uncover or something to repair or another trinket or a bobblehead or a key or a map or something like that. It's enough to keep you interested in even one single building for far longer than I expected. All in all, after a lengthy session, I was pretty happy. The game leaves a lot to be desired for avid hardcore PvPers, and it's extremely forgiving when you die, regardless of what killed you. So if you are looking for a hardcore survival game with like brutal player versus player encounters, well, then Fallout 76 is not even close to what you're looking for. But if you want an open world cooperative looter with base building and trading and a little bit of PvP, if you want it, but it's not really risky at all, then yes, Fallout 76 will probably be a really fun experience for you. A tiny last thought, it costs caps to fast travel. I hated that right off the bat. I understand they need a currency sync, but that really sucked. You pretty rapidly build up a bank of caps, but when you do spend them, or you have to travel really far a few times, and you happen to run out, my god, it's inconvenient. A relatively small complaint, but one of my squad mates, Uber Timmy, said that it kind of felt like they may even try to sell cap packs as microtransactions. And this was their way of ensuring that they would be purchased a lot by assigning caps to fast travel. And that really makes a lot of sense. I hope it's not true, but I guess time will tell. If you do plan to play this and you plan to play it on PC, it's best experienced with a really powerful rig. And regardless of your current PC setup, Shadow can help you play this or any other game on maximum settings. As I said in the beginning of the video, you can sign up for 1 month, you can check it out, play any game you own on a high-powered super gaming PC, and have it all streamed directly to you. There's a special link for the community down below, so sign up through that. It's in the description, and maybe give PC gaming a try. If you're like me and have mostly ever only played on console, then it's especially good to check out. It's a whole new world of gaming, and it bypasses the extreme cost of building your own machine. One last note, for the monthly cost, you get more than just the ability to play on a high-powered PC. Since you are remotely accessing one of their data centers, you're playing the game on their internet connection, which is 1 gig up and 1 gig down. And this applies for when you're downloading games on their platform too. It's 1 gig up, 1 gig down. That's more than 20 times faster than the connection that I have right now. And my own crappy internet is just used to stream the video. So it hardly matters how fast it is at all. More than any previous sponsor, and I can't stress this enough, more than any sponsor I've had in the past, this is one I am happy to have opened a relationship with and been able to bring to the community. Make sure to use promo code UEG for a special discount just for our community. That's going to wrap it up though. Let me know what you think of Fallout 76 down below in the comments. Check out our other communities. We have Discord, Facebook, Twitch, and many more different areas. I'll probably live stream Red Dead Redemption 2 in a few days, so check that out if you want to. I'll keep the Fallout content coming as I gather the footage needed and experience more aspects of the game, but I'll wrap this one up there. As always, thank you for watching, and have a nice night.